You may recognize our next guest from his many, many years as a national news correspondent for CBS and other outlets for decades. Don Dahler was a globe-trotting correspondent covering wars, wildlife, and many of the biggest stories of the day. He chronicled those adventures and many others in his new memoir, Souvenirs from an Absurd Life. And Don Dahler joins us now.
Welcome, Don. Welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome back.
It's
good to see
old home
you.
day. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're out of correspondent row. We're in a new building. But otherwise, things haven't changed all that much. Although your career is one of the most singular, I think, of any network correspondent of the last 25 years. You've been to a lot of interesting places, done a lot of things. And absurd is the word that came to mind. Explain it.
Exactly. My dream from when I was little was not to be famous or be rich. I wanted to have an adventurous life. I couldn't imagine having a boring life. And like most people, I had no idea how to get to that point. And part of it was luck, and part of it was making the right contacts and just hard work. But having the kind of life I've had, where I've lived in a tent in Africa, covered wars with some wonderful U.S. military, some of the best people. Yeah. I can't believe at this point that I had that kind of an interesting life. And it is absurd that somebody who literally came from nothing, I mean, I was a runaway. I had no money in the bank. And to somehow get to that point, I count myself incredibly fortunate.
Absurd is normally not a positive thing, but in your case, I really think it applies. And when you talk about adventurous life, I'm just going to do a little TikTok of you. Been shot at, bitten by a shark, stalked by lions in Africa. Leonardo DiCaprio almost bought your house. 3-hour conversation with Mickey Mantle. Ellen DeGeneres asked for your help in starting a family. Well, it's all in the book. And you had an encounter with Mother Teresa. And so when you say adventurous, what was your definition of adventurous? Did you dream this big? Because this career, you almost stumbled into this career.
Yeah, I did, absolutely. Had it not been for a few moments with Dick Enberg, perhaps one of the most gracious, wonderful sportscasters we've ever had. He gave me career advice that I didn't have from anyone, and I was his bartender.
And what was the advice? What was the advice? He said,
get back to school. I had stopped college because I didn't know what I was going to do, so I was tending bar trying to make some money. And he said, get back to school, get an internship. And go from there. That's how you do it. That's how you get into this business. And
that's how you did it.
Nobody had told me that before. I didn't have any guidance counselors in school that told me this is how you're going to get on that path.
Yeah, I love that part of the book. Did you give him any free drinks? Did you comp him anything?
I did.
Smart.
Absolutely. Any chance I got.
Don, one of the things that people should know is when I first got to CBS News, you were my ideal of a mentor, somebody who had done all the things that you describe in this book and whose life I wanted to sort of have as a journalist, right? And what I love, I'm just gonna read a page here, not a page, but a bit here from the book, because I think this sort of sums up who you are. You were in Grenada when somebody told you that you move well.
Love that.
And this is what you write. In many ways, my broadcasting career was one of almost Katie Couric's replacement at CBS News, almost a 60 Minutes correspondent, almost a GMA host, almost a big deal. Instead, I was almost invisible, a journeyman reporter who got to cover the biggest stories of the time for the best news organizations on the planet. And you know what? I'll take that deal every damn time.
I like that paragraph, too.
That
100%.
describes you.
Yeah.
That, to me, is Don Dahler.
Yeah. You know, we all have aspirations when we get started in this business. And frankly, being an anchor, being the person who got to do the big interviews, that was all very appealing to me. But what ended up happening was really the best path for me. Because I got to do, as you said, so many different things, meet so many different people.
And in less than 30 seconds, it's also fascinating. Your father was very abusive to you. So you ended up running away from home. You go from that. I'm curious about how it influenced you as a dad and as a human being in less than 20 seconds.
Less than 20
Sorry
seconds.
to do that to you.
Dad taught me to not be afraid, to be tough, and to go for what I wanted to do.
And the chaos of that childhood makes you a better journalist, I'm sure.
Don Dahler, we thank you. Really good to see you.
So good to see you.
Souvenirs from an Absurd Life is great, and it's available now.